How can we practically integrate the 7 Hermetic principles into our daily lives? After all, isn't that the essence of our studies on this journey? Aren't we here to learn how to effectively shape our reality and manifest our desires? In today's video, we'll explore the core of these laws and principles, demonstrating how they can be applied together to transform our lives. As I've mentioned in previous videos, knowledge of these principles is valuable, but to truly benefit from them, we must put them into practice. So, let's embark on this journey. The first Hermetic principle is the law of mentalism, which states that all is mind. We've discussed this principle in depth in a dedicated video on the channel. Personally, I find this principle to be the most challenging of all, because fully grasping it requires deep meditation and practice. Mentalism is not merely an abstract idea. It is the foundation from which all alchemical processes of creation emerge. It represents an endless reservoir of potential, holding infinite possibilities. Every event, every occurrence, can be seen as a series of stimuli navigating the labyrinth of our consciousness. The very fabric of our experiences, the canvas upon which life paints its colors, exists within the boundaries of our perception. While this understanding is fundamental, it merely serves as a gateway to a deeper comprehension of this principle. This principle alone is the foundation of everything we do here. Our work is centered on using the mind to bring about changes in our reality. However, there's a more practical approach to applying this principle when we combine it with the second, the principle of correspondence. This principle states, as above, so below, as within, so without. If we accept that all is mind, and we understand that what happens in higher realms is reflected in lower realms, and vice versa, then it follows that our individual minds are reflections of the universal, or divine, mind. This means that just as everything is created within the divine mind, we also possess the ability to create within our own minds, not as something lesser, but as a more personal expression of the same creative force. Understanding these two principles is the true foundation of manifestation and the law of attraction. If we recognize that we can create with our minds, then the first step is to take care of our thoughts. For those new to this path, or without experience in meditation, thoughts may seem to arise uncontrollably. While this is partly true, it is within our power to determine whether we accept them as our reality. When negative thoughts arise, such as feelings of lack, doubt, fatigue, or unfavorable circumstances, it is crucial to remember that we have the ability to redirect them. Instead of giving power to these thoughts, simply observe them, let them pass, and release them. This practice is best done in silence, especially when alone. While it may seem simple, when applied consistently, it can be surprisingly effective. The key is understanding that thoughts are like objects. We can choose which ones to hold on to and which to let go. We should consciously embrace thoughts that serve our purpose, welcoming those that reinforce our belief in positive change. For example, affirming, "Today is a wonderful day," might feel unusual at first, but with time, you will witness the transformative power of this practice in your life. As we gain more control over our thoughts, we can begin to create deliberate, positive mental patterns. The third principle we'll explore is the principle of vibration, which plays a fundamental role in the law of attraction. A deep understanding of this principle offers much more than mere visualization. It reveals the immense power of feeling. Feeling is vibration. This principle aligns seamlessly with the principle of polarity, which teaches that love and hate are not separate forces, but rather two extremes of the same emotional spectrum. Emotions are vibrations, and by recognizing this, we gain the ability to consciously raise or lower our vibrational frequency, opening the door to an entirely new world of possibilities. You have the ability to control your emotions, and when combined with the practice of thought selection, you can fully immerse yourself in each positive thought, embracing it, feeling it, and amplifying its energy. Pay attention to your emotions when you feel good, and work to sustain that elevated state. The more you cultivate a high vibrational frequency, the more you attract experiences aligned with it. When you feel something deeply, you become that feeling. So, feel your desires as if they are already fulfilled. Immerse yourself in that emotion and embody it. This understanding of vibration naturally leads us to the next principle, the principle of polarity. Everything has its opposite. Opposites are identical in nature but differ in degree. Extremes meet, and paradoxes can be reconciled. You may have heard the phrase, two sides of the same coin. This is essentially the principle of polarity in action. For example, heat and cold are not fundamentally different elements. They are the same phenomenon expressed at different intensities. Some might dismiss this as obvious, yet many fail to apply this understanding in their daily lives. By mastering this principle, we can become more aware of our emotions and thoughts, gaining greater control over them. If we feel anger or hatred towards someone, we can recognize that these emotions are simply degrees of the same spectrum, and we can shift our focus toward the other end. Love. This realization is the first step in transforming negative emotions into positive ones. Those who master this principle can even transmute fear into courage. This is the essence of mental alchemy. Polarity teaches us that opposing forces are merely different degrees of the same energy. Similarly, the next principle, the principle of rhythm, reveals that everything moves in cycles. Everything flows in and out. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. Rhythm is the compensation that governs the universe. Just as we learned in the principle of polarity that everything has two poles, and in the principle of vibration that nothing is ever truly still, the principle of rhythm explains that all things follow a natural ebb and flow, much like the swing of a pendulum. Understanding this can help us navigate the ups and downs of life with greater ease and awareness. When the principle states that everything has its tides, it alludes to the principle of correspondence, through which we can observe the macrocosm reflected within the microcosm. In this sense, we can understand that this principle is nothing more than a form of compensation. Without it, existence would flow in a linear fashion, moving endlessly toward a single extreme of polarity. However, the all is always seeking balance, and its pendulum-like movement reflects this search for equilibrium. Oscillations arise because there are natural limits to each extreme. Everything oscillates, including our minds. When we grasp this, we develop the awareness that even difficult moments will eventually pass. Understanding and respecting our own rhythms is one of the ways we can apply the principle of rhythm in our daily lives. Each person has their own unique rhythm, which can vary depending on life circumstances. It's important to pay attention to the body's signals, such as fatigue, hunger, and the need for rest, in order to honor what we truly need in the present moment. Likewise, we must respect natural cycles, including the alternation between work and rest, as well as the changing seasons. By aligning ourselves with these rhythms, we cultivate a more balanced and harmonious way of living. The sixth principle is the principle of cause and effect, which teaches that nothing happens by chance. There are no coincidences. Every event and circumstance is the result of a preceding cause. When we understand that all is mind, and that as above, so below, we realize that our individual minds mirror the divine mind. This means that our thoughts, whether positive or negative, are the driving forces behind our lives. The principle of cause and effect reveals the universal mechanics of events on multiple levels. By stating that every effect has a cause, it affirms that within the mental universe in which we exist, nothing is truly random. The concept of coincidence merely exists to describe causes we have yet to understand. We frequently experience this principle in our everyday lives, making it somewhat easier to grasp. For instance, if we neglect our diet, cause, we're likely to develop health problems, effect. If we consistently nurture a plant, cause, it will thrive and eventually bloom, effect. This principle deepens our understanding of the previous exercises, reinforcing the idea that we are the primary authors of our own lives. The future experiences we attract will be shaped by the thoughts we cultivate today, just as our current reality is largely the outcome of the thoughts and beliefs we nurtured months, years, or even decades ago. Some of these influences stem from childhood, shaped by parental influence and subconscious conditioning. But notice that at no point have I mentioned destiny. Rather, every effect has a cause that explains it. And when we fail to recognize the cause, we simply call it luck or fate. This is why it's crucial to take control of the subconscious mind. When you recognize that nothing is truly random, and that your thoughts and mental creations determine your reality, you must become mindful of what you allow to take root in your mind. Remember, you are the active creator of your life. Your reality is a manifestation of your mental choices. Finally, we arrive at the principle of gender, an often underestimated yet profoundly important law, as it provides deeper insight into the mechanics of creation. This principle teaches that all creation operates through the interplay of masculine and feminine energies, which together form the balance necessary for existence. However, the principle of gender offers more than just an understanding of duality. It reveals that the potential for creation, generation, and regeneration stems from this union. Nothing can come into being without the harmonious interaction of both feminine and masculine elements. The essence of the feminine is associated with receptivity, intuition, fertility, and creativity, the conception of ideas. The essence of the masculine is expressed through logic, action, willpower, drive, and protection. No idea can be realized without action, just as no action has direction without an idea. Therefore, all creation emerges from the union and balance of these two forces. A clear example of the principle of gender can be found in the atom. A cloud of negative particles surrounds a positive nucleus, and through their interaction, the foundation of all matter is formed. This principle manifests on all planes, not only in the physical realm through biological sex, but also on mental and spiritual levels. The attributes of both genders are not confined to physical form. They are reflected in our ways of thinking, acting, and the energy we emit. As explained in the Kybalion, the principle of gender is always at work in the processes of generation, regeneration, and creation. All beings and all things contain both masculine and feminine aspects within them. Every man possesses feminine energy, just as every woman possesses masculine energy. To live in balance, it is essential to harmonize these polarities within ourselves, acknowledging and honoring both aspects in our thoughts and actions. Our inner masculine and feminine energies are constantly seeking equilibrium. For example, in some situations, decisive action may be needed, masculine energy, while in others, creativity and receptivity may be more beneficial, feminine energy. The remarkable thing is that we naturally recognize which energy is required at a given moment. Take the time to explore how your own masculine and feminine aspects seek expression and nourishment in your life. All of these Hermetic principles work together as part of a grand, interconnected whole. It's all about creation and expansion, about consciously shaping reality and manifesting our desires. That is exactly what we are doing here, expanding our awareness and accessing the infinite possibilities available to us. By understanding these principles, you unlock the doors to a life of conscious creation, where you're the co-creator of your destiny, manifesting your desires step by step, with patience and confidence. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Share this message with others who may benefit from it. And don't forget to leave a comment below with your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you soon.